because it's the first one you get to when you're coming north. And we're on an island here. The island is called Revillagigedo Island. It's named after a Spanish viceroy of Mexico. And the island is fairly big. It's the same size as the state of Rhode Island. But we can only drive a short distance. We can drive about 15 miles south of town and about 18 miles north of town, and the road stops. It's all the farther we can go. So you have to get here by plane or by boat. And there's a carving over here on the right. It was carved by local master carver Nathan Jackson. And it is called the Thundering Wings. And that's what the word Ketchikan means. It means the thundering wings of an eagle. And this is downtown Ketchikan. It was incorporated in 1900. At that time, there were about 500 people living here, and almost all of them were men. In fact, they used to say in the old days that if you're looking for a man, just come to Alaska because the odds are good. But the goods are odd. Still true. And today we have a population of about 15,000 people on the island. And we're about equally divided between men and women these days. Because Ketchikan's a fun place to be. And coming up on the right, our Ketchikan Fire Department. That's a fairly new building. It's only been here for a few years. And we just got a brand new fire truck this year. Everyone's so excited. And coming up on the left is a Fogwoman totem pole. And there used to be a native chief's house behind that when Ketchikan was first established. And in the early days of Ketchikan, there were some houses of ill repute along Creek Street. And if you look to the left, you can see Creek Street there. That's actually a boardwalk that goes along the banks of the creek. And there were many houses of ill repute there. And then in 1958, when Alaska became a state, they made prostitution illegal. And so the girls either went underground or they got different jobs. Not sure which. On one of our radio stations over here on the right, KTKN and KGTW FM. We have 3 FM stations and 1 AM station here. And over on the left there's an empty lot here. There used to be a grocery store there up until March of last year. And the store was owned by the Tatsuda family. They had their business for over 100 years. And then last year we got a lot of really heavy rain, and the hillside sloughed off and fell on top of the store. About 60 tons of rock fell on their building, and so they lost everything. It was really tragic. Now last year we had a lot of rain. We almost broke our record rainfall. We average about 13 feet of rain a year. Last year we got over 200 inches of rain. The record is 202 inches, and we came within an inch of breaking the record last year. Cemetery off to the left, and then on the right, this is where we store our fuel. The fuel comes up on a barge, and they fill these tanks, and then the distributors get their fuel from here. And the U.S. Coast Guard base over here on the right, there are about 125 Coast Guard men and women stationed at the base here in Ketchikan, and that's been here since the 1800s. And that used to be lighthouse service. But when I was much younger, I thought it was a great place to get a date. Just go out there, line them up, and say, I'll take that one. You know? That's how I got my husband. Yeah, a lot of girls got their husbands that way. And the body of water that you see on the right here is the Tongass Narrows. It's named for the Tongass tribe of the Tlingit Indians, and it means people of the water. And across from the shore, and they saw this big black bear swimming. And the bear looked like it was struggling, so they wanted to help this silly black bear that was out there in the middle of nowhere swimming away. And so they used some of their fishing gear. They got a line around the bear, and they hoisted him up onto the deck of their fishing boat. But once they got him up there, they realized that they had this line around the bear on their boat, and they couldn't get close enough to get the line off the bear. And they weren't really quite sure what they were going to do. So they radioed ahead to Ketchikan, and they said, well, we're coming into town. We have a bear on our deck, and we need some help to get him off. So, of course, everybody in town had marine radios, and they all heard this. So there was a big crowd downtown to watch the boat come in, and the state troopers were down there with their guns and everything, and they were ready to dispatch this bear. But as they got closer to the dock, the bear started to panic, you know, saw the crowd and everything, and he wriggled his way loose out of the rope, and he was tearing all over the deck of their fishing boat, and they were huddled up inside their cabin afraid to come out. But the bear, as they got closer to the dock, the bear jumped off the boat and ran right through the middle of the crowd and headed for the high country. Of course, in the middle of the crowd, they couldn't shoot at the bear either, so it saved his life. But after that, they decided it was probably a dumb idea to put a bear on your boat. But oh, you just heard the chimes of St. John's Episcopal Church, Sunday today. And that's the oldest church in Ketchikan. It was built in the early 1900s. And when they first built that church, there weren't any streets, and everybody had a boat, so they built a dock in front of the church, and you could go to church in your boat. We have about 36 different churches in Ketchikan now.
Wow.
So it'll be a busy day in Ketchikan.
How many bars?
Well, you know, we used to have more bars than we had churches, but as tourism has expanded here, some of the bars have actually turned into curio shops. They make more money selling curios than liquor. But yeah, the early days, when it was primarily fishing and logging, there were a lot of bars around town. Yeah, I used to work in an Asian restaurant in town. It was one of my first jobs when I was 60, and we had the Japanese freighters would come in, and that was their favorite restaurant. And so I would go try to take their orders, and none of them spoke English, so that was always exciting. But they always wanted their picture taken with me because I was blonde, and they thought that was really cool. So somewhere in Japan there are hundreds of pictures of me. That was a fun job, actually. Yeah, the lady I worked for was a Filipino lady, and she was legally blind, but she'd remember every single order, and you'd tell her the orders and she'd have them right up. Every order was almost always perfect. If she ever got it wrong, of course, it was our fault.
Is this the end?
This is 8.
Okay, and those of you that are on the crab tour, the lady out here will tell you which bus to get on. And
That's good, right there, Anita.
have a wonderful day in Ketchikan. Thanks for riding along with Anita. Let me get the door for you. Just a minute.
Really in them off anything. Oh my gosh.
Terrible.
Yeah.
4 hours.
Okay, crab people, 218 over there.